big national story today. The final GST, goods and services tax rates are indeed out. A number of items will come under the zero-rated items category, which means that there will be no GST levied on such goods. Now, this will include the likes of food grains commonly used by people and other essential items, items of mass consumption, or what the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley called Aam Aadmi products will be taxed at just 5%. What's more, there will be two standard rates of 12% and 18% instead of just one standard rate. The highest tax rate under the GST will be retained at 28%. Tobacco, A-rated drinks, luxury cars will be taxed at that 28% level. Now, the rollout of GST will bring the entire country under a uniform tax structure. This will also do away with the burden of double taxation that customers have to bear on certain goods. First up, let's listen to what Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had to say today.
And I'm glad to inform you that we've been able to finalize the rate structure today. And the rate structure will be the following. That there will be a zero tax rate in which several items, which approximately constitute 50% of the consumer price index basket, would be included. We don't call it the exempted items, we'll call it the zero rated items. And it was decided that food grain used by common people would be in this category. So that would be zero rated, so that its impact in terms of inflationary pressure on common people is the least. The second category was decided as the 5% item. And these will be items of mass consumption which are used particularly by common people. There will be two standard rates of 12% and 18%. Now, currently, there are several items, particularly white goods and others, which are taxed at an excise rate of 12.5 and a VAT is 14.5, which is 27%. Along with the cascading effect, it comes to anything between 30 to 31% for most of these items. So the present rate of tax is 30 to 31%. There was a suggestion in the draft to bring it down to 26%. But finally, the consensus is that these items, which including the cascading impact, are today taxed at 30 to 31%, will be now taxed at 28%.
All right, now that we've heard Finance Minister Arun Jaitley out, let's take this top big national story forward with a very special guest who joins us here in our Magic Bricks Now studios, Mr. Rohit Poddar, Managing Director of Poddar Housing. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now, Rohit. On this big day, it's a historic day. I mean, after it getting passed in the Parliament, this is an important day because all eyes were on the percentage. What is the GST rate that's going to be? Will there be a consensus? There is a consensus, which is first of all good news. And now there is 5%. 12%, 18% and 28%. We'll get to the specifics later. But to talk to us in terms of how, as somebody from the real estate sector, how do you view this development of these rates?
I think quite positive, to be honest with you. I think the 5% slab is very interesting from an affordable housing perspective. They haven't announced, of course, what the slabs will be for real estate, or I know different asset classes in real estate. But I think the whole industry is hoping for, as an Aam Aadmi product, affordable housing to come under the 5% level. The second thing is clarifications are still required whether stamp duty and registration will be included or above this. My assessment is that it'll be over and above this and not included in this. So from that perspective, I think a 12% level should be the maximum, hopefully, that the real estate sector will have to pay.
All right. Rohit, we'll get to the specifics of this later because you are a key player in the affordable housing segment in this country. You're the second largest, if I'm not mistaken. We will get to the specifics. But before that, I wanted to ask you, on the whole, the fact that there has been so much consensus on GST, that we are right now looking at the day when the rates are finally out. I mean, a year ago, if somebody was asked, will there be a consensus on rates, it would have been very difficult to say. Today, we have a consensus on the rates. At the face of it all, now that GST is ever so inching closer to becoming reality, on track for April 1st, 2017 deadline, how much heart will the real estate industry take from it?
I think a lot, actually. I think it's not only the question of GST, but a question also of, along with this radar becoming a reality, as well as the new DCR for Maharashtra in particular, and also other parts of India. So I think you need clarity in the customer's mind as to what's going on, and I think that all these measures will basically add to the clarity in the customer's mind, which will hopefully translate to a better absorption rate.
All right, a better absorption rate is absolutely key in the times that we live in. I understand that, Rohit, but let's get back to the specifics that we're talking about. 5% for the Aam Aadmi good, 12 to 18%, 12% and 18% as two different rates, and 28% for the extremely luxury goods and everything. And real estate, as you just told us, like there is different kinds of products within the real estate industry. The one for the Aam Aadmi and one for the not so Aam Aadmi, etc., etc. So the crucial point for the real estate industry from now on will be as to how affordable housing gets taxed at what rate, right? Because government from Prime Minister Modi is keen for housing for all by 2022, and for that to happen, affordable housing will be the key in terms of everything, in terms of driving demand, in terms of driving better access to capital, to everything. So from that perspective, do you think that the next step for the real estate industry, next trigger, is when the government would call it and say that affordable housing will be taxed at 5%, luxury will be housing will be taxed at 28%?
Well, I can't speak for the luxury segment, and I certainly hope that they don't get taxed at 28, because there's a lot of unsold inventory at that level as well, which ultimately leads to NPAs on the books of banks. And I think 28% would be too high for that particular segment as well. But I think that 5% bracket for the affordable housing sector will send the right signals out, both politically and from the sort of supply side creation of it, which of course leads to lower inflation as well. So macroeconomically, it's a good thing. Politically, it's a good thing, and it'll help massively at the ground level as well. Sort of incentivize larger developers to take affordable housing seriously. I personally feel that the other sectors of the housing space or the construction space, whether it's commercial or industrial or luxury residential, will all be between 12 and 18%. I'm kind of hoping it's 12, because I think that'll give an impetus to the industry as well, which is a big sort of job creator and ancillary driver of demand across different sectors of the economy.
All right, on the day in which we have a finality as far as the rates of GST is concerned, the request from the real estate industry at least is that please put the GST on affordable housing at 5% and keep the other housing and commercial real estate development GST at either 12% or 18%, 12% preferably. Let's hope, Rohit, that the government is listening and it comes in as sweet news for the real estate sector going forward. But for now, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Bricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.